Hey, how we doing? I'm Andy, this is Spiders. Thanks for coming along and watching. Today we've got about half a dozen rehousings. I think there's 5 spiders and a scorpion all in all. We've got a Nhandu carapoensis, which is like a grown on sling. Got a couple of Brazilian blues, the Pterinopelma sazimai. Again, they're grown on slings. And then we're going to sort of move up in size. Then I've got a sub-adult male adult seemanni, which I'm rehousing in the hope, or I'm just changing its setup a little bit in the hope that I can try and encourage it to molt. And we've got Asian forest scorpion, the Heterometrus spinifer, and then right at the end I've got my recently molted adult female Bumba horrida. The other one, you may remember I did a video, I think it was before Christmas, where I'd picked up a male Bumba horrida and I rehoused a female in that one. Well, them two have since been paired, which is a video that I have got sort of in the process of getting ready to release. But yeah, this is a different Bumba horrida. Unfortunately, that male's passed on now, so I'm not going to be able to try and pair him with this one. But anyway, I'm waffling on. I'm just going to shut up and I'm going to show you the footage. I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, you know, subscribe, all that stuff. Everything that's underneath, all downstairs. And I'll catch you at the end. Cheers. Zella. So first up, we've got the Nhandu carapoensis, or the Brazilian red, but there is probably 3 or 4 different tarantulas that share that common name, so I try not to use it if I can help it. They say this is quite cool, and I've had this about three years now. I had about 4 of these at one point. One was slightly bigger than this, which I gave away as part of a prize for, I think it may have been Steve at Tarantula Tastics Enclosures giveaway last year. But you see, nice little thing, pretty easy getting it caught up into its little pot, and we're just going to slide the camera over and you see this is the little setup that I've got for it. It's just one of my basic little Brayplast tubs with a little hide and some moss at one end, some substrate and a water ball, and that's pretty much it. As you'll see here, wasn't too keen on coming down into its new pot, but I was pretty sure that once it got there it'd be alright like. Yes, and there we have it. Nice and easy, and that's the Nhandu carapoensis. So now we're going to shift on and we're going to go to the first of 2 Pterinopelma sazimais, the Brazilian blue. Now this one is a grown on sling. The next one's also a grown on sling, but it's probably a molt, maybe 2 molts ahead of this one, and you'll see the difference in them straight away. Once I've got this one potted up and in its pot, and then show you the next one, you'll see this one hasn't quite got those blue colours yet, the blue colours on the body and the legs and the red colour on the abdomen. It's still basically pretty much a little brown sling, or as it is now, it's a brown grown on sling. So you can see, got a fat butt there, so I've got a feeling it is due to molt at some point soon, so when it does it'll look striking. But in the meantime, this is what we've got, and again, one of my basic setups. And this one I just set on the side, and this one goes in pretty easily. Here we are, so you'll see it's still looking pretty brown. That's the first of the 2 Pterinopelma sazimais, or the Brazilian blues, and what we'll do now is we'll move on to the second one, and you'll see what this thing's going to look like in probably a few short months. So already you can see the blue all over the body and the red hairs on the abdomen. Striking difference. And this one isn't freshly malted. There's a lot of talk that the colours only show on these when they're freshly malted, but if I'm honest, I've got 3 of these. The 2 that I'm showing in this video, plus another one, a confirmed female that's probably a little bit bigger than this one. And this one and the other, I've just shown those blues from molting months ago right through, so whether that'll change as they get older, I'm not sure, but I'm quite looking forward to finding out. So the 2 that I'm showing in this video are both unsexed, and as I've said, I do already have a confirmed female that's a little bit bigger than these. I think maybe the same size or a little bit bigger. So we'll see how things go further down the line. You never know, we may end up with a pair and there may be a future breeding project in the line like. Say some amazing colours on these spiders. I'm really looking forward to having these as adults, and it's just that big blue massive spider. It'll be awesome like. So as with all of these, we'll get them fed up, and next we're going to move on, and we've got a slightly bigger setup. As mentioned, this is a sub-adult male Aphonopelma seemanni. Now I've had this guy about 2.5 years. I bought a pair of them, adult female and this guy, and he molted out, and he was a good size then, so I did expect him to mature, but he didn't, and I think it's been nearly 2 years now since his last molt, so I'm hoping that putting him in this new enclosure, in this new setup, may encourage him to molt out, and then he'll be mature and I can get a pairing going on with the female I've got. Now this was my first ever tarantula, well not this one in particular obviously, but yeah, 26 years ago, my first T was a male Aphonopelma seemanni. This one is the Costa Rican variant, so you'll see that there is like a bit of a blue touch to her, or to him, sorry. And the female is the same, she's the Costa Rican variant. She's got a really nice blue tone to her, especially when they're freshly molted. Looking a bit grey there with that top view, but there you can see in those front legs and the chelicera that blue is quite prominent there like. So yeah, there's a happy chappy, he's all sorted, and now we're going to move on to this Asian forest scorpion, the Heterometrus spinifer. Now you see it was in this plastic tub, and basically all I did was I tilted the tub and it slid down. That wasn't actually how I intended on the scorpion entering the enclosure, but it seemed to work okay. So there we've got a little bit of a close-up. You see these are absolutely beautiful scorpions. They have that almost bluish sheen to them under a bright light, and then obviously you put the ultraviolet light on them and they just glow like a beacon. Now this one, I thought I'd try and give it a feed, and you'll see here, it did take the Morio from my tongs, and it sat there for a little while, just sort of debating what it was going to do, if I'm honest. And then a few minutes later it sort of dropped it and turned around. So I thought we'll give it one more try and see whether or not it wants it, and if not we'll remove it and leave him to it. And you see this time it sort of got a good grip, both pincers, and slowly over time it drew it in, and we'll get a nice little close-up of its mouth parts starting to work on this Morio. You see it's like a pair of pincers. Very, very strange looking mouth parts, if I'm honest. So there we have it, the Heterometrus spinifer, the Asian forest scorpion, and he's off with his dinner. And that means we can now move on to this Bumba horrida. Now this is an adult female. She molted out a little while ago, and she's been in this sort of jar enclosure since, oh Christ, probably since she was about 3-4 centimetres. I had both of them were in these enclosures, both of my Bumba horridas. This was obviously before I knew they were females. Now, as you'll see, she wasn't that keen on coming out, and she kept going back a little bit, so we've time-lapsed this bit. And what I did in the end, because I noticed she kept going back into her little tunnel, so I was a little bit tight, and you'll see here what I did is I just used my tongs and I basically pushed everything. I suppose it's the back as you're looking at it, but it was to the left as I was looking at it, and I just pushed everything back and filled that corner so that she wasn't able to escape down there, and that made it a whole lot easier when it comes to actually getting her out of this jar, as you'll see in just a second. So by now I think she'd already established that she had nowhere left to retreat, so she just sort of went with it, came with the stick, and allowed me to usher her into my little catch cup like. And here we get a bit of a close-up. Again, these are absolutely beautiful tarantula. The silkiness of that black and then the bright orange, it's almost metallic. It's absolutely stunning. I think these are probably a bit underrated in my opinion, but I don't know if that's just because they're not as popular. I think if more people had them, more people would talk about them. As you'll see there, pretty easy getting her into a new enclosure, and we get a really good look at her. See, that black, it's so black that when the light shines on it and it reflects, the spider almost looks grey. It almost looks like it's got two-tone leg pattern there, but it hasn't. I can assure you that if you've not seen one of these in the flesh, they're just like a really silky jet black, absolutely stunning. So I know we'd just moved her, but I thought, right, we'll try and give her a feed, see what happens. And lo and behold, she was hungry. I think this is only the second time she's fed since her molt. So, like I say, we'll leave her to have her tea. And yeah, I'll provide some updates on this one, as with all the rest, a little bit further down the line, like. Yeah, so they all went pretty sort of stress-free, if I'm honest, you know, just how I like it. I didn't shun the setups because there was nothing sort of special to them, so I didn't bother with the enclosure builds because they were all pretty simple. And I think over the course of videos that I've done in the past, I've probably shown putting them simple setups together. If I haven't, you certainly many other channels show that. Like, so they're all doing really well in the new enclosures and the new setups. As you've seen, a couple of them were fed straight away. The rest of them have fed since, and like I say, all seems to be going well. So I'll drop some updates as things progress in the future. And yeah, thanks for watching. And as I've said before, if you did like what you've seen, you know, subscribe, share, comment, all that stuff that helps with the algorithm and just helps the channel boost. I think we're not far short of 800 subscribers, which is pretty fucking awesome, if I'm honest. So yeah, that's me done. I'll see you all next time. Cheers. Ta-ra.